I don't know if you can hear it, but I've got my cool guy music playing. 2, 3, 4, dee dee beep bop 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 ba, zridip bop beep bop bop boo, ba da beep bop 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 ba. Hi, my name is Jimmy, and I just got back from the comic store. Picks of the week. Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. Oh no, my razor blades. I need those to slit my wrists later. I didn't get a chance to go to the shop yesterday. I had every intention, like I do every Wednesday, and my stomach said, you know what, actually, I think we're going to stay in bed for the rest of the day, and so that's what I did. But I just went down there now and picked up a few books, and like usual, I think this has gone on for the last couple weeks, where I still buy about the same, between 15 and 20 comics every week, but I'm not trying a whole lot of new stuff these days because, well, for one thing, there's not a ton coming out that really is exciting, but also I think I've kind of OD'd on trying new things for a little while. That happens every now and again. I consider myself pretty open-minded, even though I'm sure some people would argue that. But yeah, sometimes I just want superheroes punching each other in the face. So that brings me to my first pick of the week is X of Swords Stasis #1. This is X of Swords, if I haven't mentioned, and even if I have, is the big X-Men crossover this fall. I want to say it didn't get pushed back like Empire did. Like it was supposed to be in the fall. Like it was supposed to be post Empire. But regardless, I'm super stoked on it because it's the last year when Jonathan Hickman took over as like group editor of the X-Men line, and he's writing three of those titles himself as well. They did the big 24-issue House of X / Powers of X series, and that was, kind of established the whole Krakoan society they've got going now. And now this one, a year later, is like another X-Men centric crossover. And dude, I can't love it enough. Like, the X-Men have always been my favorite Marvel, like, superhero team. Like, the mutant characters have often been... Wolverine was my first introduction to comics in general. My point is, because so far in this last year since Hickman has took over, sorry, my hair is entirely too long. He's made the X-Men a very separate world from the rest of the Marvel universe, and I'm into it. Like, I don't mind when it crosses over or when the Avengers show up or whatever, but I really am enjoying just seeing. This is also one of those times. I think it might be one of those things too where a lot of writers, especially lately, it seems, find how, like, macro societies, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not about the X-Men. It's about mutants. It's about the whole nation of Krakoa. And since everybody's been brought back to life, and anybody who was dead, although that plot point has been changed a little bit in this, I'm going on way too much, blah, blah, blah. This book specifically is the halfway point of the X of Swords storyline. It's a 22-part storyline, and the first 10 parts so far have just been kind of setting up the action, where the story is basically there's an opposing... It's very confusing. There's an opposing Krakoa, like Krakoa's twin, named Arakko, that is in Otherworld, or in a dimension on the other side of Otherworld. Otherworld is where Captain Britain and Megan and Excalibur, most of their adventures were in Otherworld. It's like an alternate dimension, and it's also like a gateway to a bunch of other dimensions, if I'm remembering this right. And so, essentially, Krakoa, the nation of Krakoa, has been challenged into a sword fighting tournament with the champions of Arakko. And so the first 10 issues were basically us following the 10 characters the 10 X-Men who are going to be participating, each one of them finding their swords. Like Wolverine has the Muramasa blade, obviously. Or it's obvious to me. Magic has her sword, obviously. There's a bunch in like Cable, I think, and Captain Britain and Brian Braddock, even though Brian's not a mutant, I think is also fighting. I don't know. It's all very silly, and I love it. It's all really just this whole storyline is just an excuse to like set up your action figures. All right, this one's gonna fight this one. That's fun. Which I don't get to play with my action figures as much as I used to. Also this week I bought Colonel Weird Cosmagog #1. This is another Black Hammer title. Black Hammer is Jeff Lemire's creation. The Black Hammer universe is very, 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 very. It's just the DC universe. I love this. This is definitely a pattern now. You have Astro City by Kurt Busiek and Brent Anderson. You have the Black Hammer books by Jeff Lemire. He usually doesn't draw. Tyler Crook draws this series, and I don't know that name. There is Mark Waid's Irredeemable universe, or Incorruptible, Irredeemable/Incorruptible. And there's like Alan Moore's Supreme stories. It's all basically major league writers taking various properties, usually from Marvel and or DC, and doing their own versions. It's essentially it's become a real kind of subgenre in superhero comics of like, hey, here's a bunch of stories I pitched to Marvel/DC they wouldn't let me do. Like Paul Pope had a book that I can't remember the name of now, but he pitched another comedy story to DC, and DC said no thanks. So he went, all right, well, I'm just going to change the names and do it myself. And it was good. And it's the same with, who else does that? There was another one. I don't remember. There was that book Jesus Christ, I can't remember what I'm saying. Anyway, Colonel Weird is an analog of Adam Strange from the DC universe. And in DC, Adam Strange's whole shtick is that he's an Earthman, but he is, I don't remember why now, but he is occasionally, and without any of his own control, transported to the planet Theta? Is that? Thanagar. No, Ran. Sorry, Thanagar is the Hawk world. The planet Ran. And so he's like the defender of Ran, even though he's an Earthman, and his wife lives on Ran, and all this other stuff. So he's always back and forth. Colonel Weird, in the Black Hammer universe, his deal is that he's kind of, it's a similar thing where he has no control over where his body goes, but it's through all kinds of dimensions and times. So in the original Black Hammer series, when we were trying to, now it's been revealed that it was all like kind of like life on Mars, like that, But when we were trying to, like, what is going on with the original series, Colonel Weird obviously knew what was going on because he's essentially lived through all points at this time. So this is like, I have a feeling this is going to be about him. See, this is him as a boy, I'm imagining, and him as a younger man. This is how Colonel Weird generally looks in the Black Hammer books. I am super stoked on it. They're also coming out, he's doing a Barbalian one. And I'm trying, like, it seems like he's doing that Skulldigger. Yeah, Skulldigger and Skeleton Boy. Woo! It's all really good. All right, I'll shut up about that. Picks of the week. Da-da-ba-da-ba-da. Sorry, my stomach still hurts. Picks of last week. Da-da-da-da-da. I've had really bad indigestion lately, and it's been awful. I've been constipated several times this year, and boy, can I not recommend it enough. So I'm still a little, But the good news is I did get a bunch of reading done. Not yesterday so much, but last week I picked The Scumbag #1. This is by Rick Remender and Salvador LaRosa, I think is his name. Super good artist whose name obviously eludes me. Louis LaRosa. And I know this guy's art, but I couldn't tell you from where. I want to say he's even done another Rick Remender book. Like, look at that. That's a hell of a page. So this story revolves around the title character, obviously, and he stumbles upon it's like I was saying, like the tagline is "The world's fate rests with the worst person on it." So our title character has received a call to adventure that he is most assuredly not suited for. So that's a very good beginning to any story, if you ask me. And yeah, like I said, the art was really good. It's very much a Rick Remender script. And not since, Black Science ended, but Deadly Class is still going. I think Deadly Class is that is Remender, right? I think that's the only Remender book I'm reading right now. I'm not reading Low or Seven to Eternity. But this is good. I'm glad I have another Remender book. And then I also read Werewolf by Night. Now, I think I said last time I wasn't sure who the creative team was, and they explained who they are, and I'm more confused. I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Okay, so this book is written by Taboo and Ben Earl, or Benjamin Earl, who I'm assuming are celebrities in some other sort of... I guess I probably should have looked it up. I honestly don't give a shit. It was good, though. And who is drawing it? Oh, Scott Eaton is drawing it. Scott Eaton's art is amazing. I don't want to give away the last page, but it's pretty badass. So, in this one, in the original Werewolf by Night, it was a guy named Jack Russell who would turn into a werewolf. In this one, it's a young Native American fellow whose name eludes me right now. I almost looked back at it, but I didn't because it's already 11 minutes. And so, we come into the story where he has just discovered he has this power to change into a werewolf. So he's still trying to figure out how to best do it. And he thinks he's getting the hang of it, and then it gets to the end and he goes, oh, I have no idea. So it's been really good so far. It's too bad it's only a mini. I'm pretty sure it's only a mini. But, I like werewolf. Okay. That was Pixel last week. Pixel! Not much else. Have I read anything else? I've been reading a lot lately, which has been nice. I've really been trying not to be on social media anymore, or on my computer if I can avoid it, and try not to watch as much. I was starting to watch more TV than I normally do, and it's just kind of taking up a lot of time. But I've been catching up on all the Marvel books from last year that I didn't buy, since I have the Marvel Unlimited application on my tablet. And I've been catching up on a bunch of stuff, and what I would like to recommend in particular is if you have not read Daredevil lately, written by Chip Zdarsky, I would highly recommend it. If you've never read Daredevil before, or if you've only read it occasionally, it's a real good jumping on point. And if you have read Daredevil before, if you're anything like me, I love Daredevil. He's always been one of my favorites. When I started collecting comics again in earnest, superhero comics, was in 2001. Early 02, and Daredevil was one of the first I started buying, and that was when Brian Michael Bendis was writing it, and it was really good, and Alex Maliev was drawing it. And then so Daredevil became my, like, I've got every Daredevil for the last 17 years. But then by the time I quit my old job at the old shop and had to drop a bunch of titles, Daredevil was one of the ones that went, because I was just kind of sick of it at that point. I've been reading it every month for the last 16 years. Going back and reading this Zdarsky stuff is, sorry, I just had to uncock my gun. It's all very, I don't know how to say this without, he's not rehashing old Daredevil. He is bringing Daredevil kind of back to that Frank Miller, Brian Michael Bendis vibe. Not that it had gotten completely away from that. Not that at all, in fact. The Mark Waid run was a little more lighthearted. It wasn't nearly as... But I think once Waid left, it immediately... maybe Zdarsky was the one who came in right after Waid. I don't know. My point is, I haven't read Daredevil in a while, and I'm glad I have, and I might even start buying it in physical media. So good. Make sure to put that on your scorecards at home. I'm going to stop recording this now, because frankly, I am bored. But I will see you guys back here... next week would be my assumption.